I think courage is very undervalued as a leadership characteristic. And you're probably like, yo, dude, I thought this was a video about home building, and you know what? You're right, it is, but hang in there with me just for a minute. Courage is an extremely undervalued characteristic of leadership, and not just in leadership, but it's undervalued in business, and I would argue that it's undervalued in our society and culture as well. In an era when the need for personal safety and safe space is at an all-time high, and like, I get all of that stuff, I'm not dumping on it, but in an arena where we're talking about safe space and being safe, I think we've lost track of the fact that it's transparency as individuals engaging and connecting with one another that actually ushers in safety to our common and fellow man. The human mind, the human soul are naturally curious and have a desire to understand other people's motives, right? Like, I want to know why you do the things that you do. And I think it's that curiosity, that desire for safety that underpins those questions about like why you believe what you believe and why you do the things that you do. Because if you're willing to show me your heart, and you're willing to show me your hands, and you're willing to like truly open up your intentions and actually willfully engage in the process of showing your intentions, then what is there to fear? Like if I know what you're doing and why you want to do it, what am I scared of? Unless I'm being an asshole. Yeah, that's true, but then you just gotta be ready to deal with the assholes, right? Why do you think we lift the weights and do all the kickboxing? So like a good example of this, if you've ever traveled, right? You're at the airport, you've gone down the little like runway, you're getting on the plane, you're walking down the aisle, you stick your little carry-on into the overhead storage bin, and then you look down and you see somebody and they're staring back up at you, and you realize this is your travel buddy for the next 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever. And so you engage in plane talk, right? And yeah, and then you invariably turn to your travel mate and you're like, well, what do you do? No, what do you do? Yeah, exactly. And then I go, well, I'm a home builder. And you're like, great, okay. Yeah, exactly, cool. Right, yeah. Because except for like the 2% of people who are like into talking a home builder in that particular moment of life, the conversation's like basically dead before it starts because nobody really cares what you do. And like,
you shouldn't use my name.
You know what I say?
Dodson! Dodson! We've got Dodson here! See, nobody cares.
I know it's a harsh, it is a harsh fact of life, but it's like, we're all busy living our lives, doing our level best to find our way in this world, and there's nothing innately compelling about hearing an occupational title, right? So, and I'm guilty of this too, like I'm the worst offender. Like if I ask somebody an open-ended question and they give me like a 2-sentence answer, I'm pretty much done. So like, if I ask you what you're doing, you're like, I'm a real estate agent, and I don't know you, I'm probably gonna be like, awesome, and I'm gonna throw my AirPods on and pretend to fall asleep for the next 6 hours. So, yeah, I mean, it's human nature, right?
Well, I mean, that's a goofy illustration of a deeper truth, that there's something innate in us all as people that wants to understand other people's motives, right?
Sure.
We're not nearly as interested in what you do. We're much more interested in like who you are, why you do what you do. What do you believe in what you do?
Yeah, totally, right, exactly. So after sort of experimenting with the airplane conversations and honestly taking a step back and just thinking about the way we are as people, I've decided to stop offering up a one-word occupational answer when people ask me, what do you do? I've started to offer my beliefs around what I do, and that's the point of this video, is we want to talk about like the beliefs centered around what we do. So if you and I were to sit down next to each other on a plane, you ask me what I do, my answer would be this: I help people live more inspired lives.
That's good.
Kind of cool, right? And my hope would be your response would be something to the effect of, oh wow, that's cool, how do you do that? And I'd say, well, believe it or not, I'm a home builder. See, we've had the joy of building multiple homes ourselves, and we've helped countless clients build homes for themselves as well. So we've both experienced personally, and we've also witnessed firsthand the level of impact that your home environment has on all facets of your life. Your joy, your happiness, your fulfillment, the way you sleep, how rested you are. For me, my home is the general's tent, and it's the castle of rejuvenation for me. And these are sort of like my language centered around what home means to me. And I hope in a second you'll share what it means to you. But for me, building a home took us from a place that was very utilitarian, a place where we slept, and yeah, we made some memories, but when we actually sat down and designed our home exactly the way we wanted to be, it reflected back to us precisely everything we needed in our environment. And it represented a bastion of rejuvenation in an otherwise crazy world. Like, I know when I leave the walls of our home, I'm stepping into a chaotic world, rife with danger, rife with adventure and challenge, but all sorts of things beyond the scope of my control, and some things that I might not necessarily want to embrace that day.
Boy, looking back at building our first home, designing the home how we wanted to live our lives was an absolute game changer. You kind of hit on that a little bit. We knew we wanted a space to gather friends and family, and it was like a month after we moved into our brand new home that we were able to host our family and friends, and it was a family reunion of like 40 or more people for like an entire weekend.
Yeah.
And I just remember everyone was just so overjoyed and moved that we could all be together. And I'll never forget how impactful that was, not just for us as a couple to be able to facilitate that, but our family. I mean, we hadn't seen each other in decades, so it was kind of a big deal, and we continue to this day to have family over. Even in the house that we built in 2020, every corner of this home that we're like sitting in right now, we've got a home studio. Like, it was designed how we want to live our lives. It's our oasis from the world. I mean, every time I drive up to our house, I just breathe easier. I take like a deep breath, and it's just so wonderful to have a home that not only you're proud of, that you love, but is your safe place. And no joke, like every detail that we spent time and money on, a lot of money on sometimes, but those things actually still make me smile, like our pantry door or our back porch. Like the little things that we took the time to pick still bring joy when I see them, and I'm proud of them. Knowing the scriptures we wrote behind our walls and our handprints on the concrete foundation, those kind of special things just kind of warm the heart. Like, we know they're always there. Now, I'm not gonna lie, building a home is really stressful, and not gonna sugarcoat that fact, but it is so rewarding. You are building a home for your future memories. And I must admit, it is actually one of the things I love about what we get to do. I love helping people see during the process what is going to come. That warm home that you get to build memories in.
Yeah, love it all and totally agree. And this is where the idea of courage as an underrated leadership characteristic comes in. See, looping it back around.
Good job.
Most builders don't give a flying about the individual or the client experience. It's strictly a business transaction, like going to a car lot and buying a vehicle, or going to a restaurant and ordering a meal. You're there for a product or a service. They conduct the transaction. You walk away with what you came for in exchange for the price that you were willing to pay for the product or the services rendered. Except that doesn't work well when someone's uprooting their family and moving once, or in some cases moving to a rental and then moving again. So you're engaged in a building process that's sometimes 4 months, 6 months, 12 months. We've seen it take 18 months in some instances. And it doesn't work when you're leaving one home where you have this Rolodex of fond memories and you're hoping to capture even more experiences in the next home if the company or the builder building your home is disengaged in the experiential process for you. So what makes us different is our desire for transparency, communication, and legitimate regard for the experience of our clients, both while you're building and in the longer run of living your lives at the home itself. And it takes courage in business to be transparent, particularly in the building industry, to let people behind the curtain and communicate on a regular basis, let them ask all the hard questions and walk the property on a regular basis. It is not an easy thing, but we're implicitly aware that our clients don't just remember the home that they get after it's done. They remember how they felt the entire time it was being built. And so the transparency and communication are there. It's to the extent to which their needs were heard and met completely impacts their happiness and joy level during the home building process. So now we're gonna roll out more videos and more content about the processes around that. It's not just a feel-good moment on a video. We wanna make sure that we follow through in all the things that we're talking about, but for the sake of today, we wanted to share with you guys just a few of our beliefs about what we do and why we do what we do. Our company motto is this:
We exist to be a force for good by building lasting relationships and crafting forever homes.
Nice, good job, totally. Yeah, and so the force for good stuff manifests itself in a lot of different ways. Primarily and in business terms, we know that every time we place a family in one of our homes, we've planted the possible seeds and roots of a life more inspired. And if you love, and I mean like absolutely love where you live, your life will be lived more fully in countless ways.
That's just so true.
right? Like it'll impact how you work, how you sleep, how you play. It'll impact your expectations when you vacate. It'll impact how you engage your loved ones. That's what a home means, and that's what we're talking about when we're talking about being a force for good and helping people live inspired lives. Another way that we serve as a force for good is that we're partnering with the VBJI, or the Virginia Beach Justice Initiative. The fight against the sex traffic trade is something we've always felt very strongly about, and there's nothing more near and dear to our heart than this particular fight. And it's rampant in Hampton Roads. People don't actually know that, but like it's really bad here.
Yeah.
So DMAC, Michaela, I'm gonna throw you guys the link so you can put it in the comments below so people can check it out. But their mission is to bring an end to sex trafficking by empowering the residents of the Hampton Roads community through education, awareness, advocacy, and prevention campaigns. So a portion of every home that we deliver at 757 Building Company will go to this particular initiative. So that's a little bit more about what we do, our beliefs around what we do, and most importantly, why we do it. Our clients and client experience is at the forefront of the whole thing. Even our sales team, we're professionals in real estate, but passionate about people. Everything that we touch in business basically goes back to serving our clients and serving people. So thanks for taking the time to hang out with us. We're 757 Building Company, where we exist to be a force for good by building lasting relationships.
And crafting forever homes.
We'll see you next week.